Simcha, celebration of life.
Hello, welcome to Simcha, a celebration of life. I'm Nikki Wallman. The Hebrew numbers in Kabbalah are based on the unification of the masculine and feminine creative forces, resulting in a state of cosmic oneness. Today, Rabbi Yom Tov Glaser explains the hidden meaning behind a few of these numbers.
I don't know if I have a favorite number, but the numbers that I'd like to talk about today are the numbers 6 and 7. So the top of a letter represents the spiritual, and the bottom of the baseline represents the material or physical world. So a yud, for example, which is the number 10, is just floating above. It doesn't even touch the baseline. It's considered just the idea, like when you have an idea, you want to go do something. But a vav is that yud, but you draw it down to its conclusion. It draws and connects heaven and earth, really. And that's the vav. And the vav is the 6, the number 6, which represents connection. Also, the number 6, which is the vav, is actually connects two words. It means and. The vav also represents, or 6 represents the 6th of the attributes that God created the world with. God created the world with 10 attributes, and the 6th of the attributes is the vav, and that vav is called yisod in Hebrew, and it's actually the 6th of the luminaries, each one connected to one of these creative beams that God created the world with. So Abraham's the first, Isaac's the second, Jacob's the third, Moses is the fourth, then Aaron is the fifth, and the 6th, back to the vav, is Joseph. Joseph represents the vav, and that is the tzaddik. He's called Yosef HaTzadik, Joseph the tzaddik. And if you look actually at the letter tzaddik, you'll see that it's shaped, if you looked at it from here, it's shaped with a vav and then another vav, which is really interesting because it's got a vav and another vav and a yud there. So the tzaddik, if you just look at it yogically, has his hands straight up towards heaven, and then a long vav coming down, connecting to earth, and then a whole other vav, another 6, like right across the whole baseline, which means that a tzaddik has his hands in heaven, and he knows everything's coming from above, and he's connecting totally to the earth. He's totally here, and that's also part of this vav idea, is the connector. The vav, which is again the 6, is by no coincidence. It's also just the spear representing the male, which is the place of connection. And that's, again, the 6 representing the vav, representing connection. The female actually is represented by the 7. And the 7 is the letter Zion. And you'll notice that the 7 is the level of balance in nature. So I'll give you some examples where it shows up in nature. 7 is the colors of the rainbow is in 7s. The octave of music, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. It's also in 7s. 7s are the days of the week. It's the cycle of the moon. And you'll notice that women have a 7 cycle also going on in their reproductive system. It's also 7s. So 7 really represents nature. 7 is nature, and it represents women who are more connected to the natural world. So when you add the vav to the Zion, the 6 to the 7, it equals 13, which is love. And the word love is ahava. So when male and female come together and they become one, end with love, so that equals 13. 13 is a very special number in Judaism. It's a number for the bar mitzvah, and it's mainly the number for love, the number for one. Also, if you double, here's an amazing teaching. You want to hear an amazing teaching? If you double 13, so it equals 26, which is another idea, another important concept is that when you come into a relationship, you have to come in whole. People can't fix you. You have to come in whole. You have to come in at one with yourself. You have to come in with love for yourself. And then you find another person who has also that wholeness. And together you make 26. And 26, when you put two ones together, two echads together, you get to 26. 26 is the numerical value of God's name, with the yud 10 and the hey 5 and the vav 6 and the hey, it equals 26.
Kichel is a delightful, sweet, crumbly biscuit treat munched on in Jewish homes around the world. Derived from Central Europe, the popular kichlach, which means cookie in Yiddish, is often served alongside chopped herring or other similar dishes. However, many people love to eat kichel as a biscuit with a cup of tea. Today, our resident chef, Saranne Chait, shows us how to make this simple and quick biscuit.
Hello and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make kichlach. Kichlach is another word for kichel, and kichel or biscuit is often offered in an Ashkenazi home together with the schnapps. There are all types of biscuits really, but South African Jews have made the kichel their favorite. To start with, we put in 4 eggs. This goes into our mix master. We add to that our oil. Now we use oil in the kichlach traditionally, as we keep it oil-based so that we can eat the kichel with both milk products or meat products. Now we're adding the sugar and a little bit of salt. Now we're going to mix this in a machine until it's quite creamy. Quite difficult to do without a machine, so I suggest you use the machine itself. Right, we've got the consistency that we like now. And the last thing to add is our self-raising flour. And we're going to switch our machine back on until we've got a wonderful, manageable kichel consistency. Right, so here we've got a very manageable pastry. It's exactly how it's supposed to be. And we're going to divide this pastry up into 4 pieces. The reason we divide it into 4, and you can't just go with the whole lot, is because we're going to roll it very, very thinly. So here's extra flour. This is just plain flour, and it's extra flour for rolling. What we do is just sprinkle it on the tabletop like this, press it down, and you'll see now it's becoming not sticky at all, and we're ready for rolling into a thin kichel biscuit. Right, so now we've got the pastry to the point where we want it before we start cutting. Traditionally, we like to cut in diamonds, so we'll start by cutting down in that fashion. Don't worry too much about the imperfection of kichel, because traditionally, actually, it's not perfect. And we'll cut it again. Now what we do is we take our baking tray and we spray and cook it. We'll lay it on our baking sheet. You can see the triangles. They don't spread as much as they rise slightly, so you can pack them quite close together. Now kichel, some people like to actually work in 2s. Because it is baked on such a high temperature, it comes out of the oven very quickly. So you almost need that other person to help you, one to roll and replenish, and one to watch the oven so as not to overcook. Right, so there's your kichel. And then we take a little bit of sugar, a slight sprinkling, because remember this is biscuit kichel. And sprinkle over the top, and now it's ready for the oven. There's our kichel coming out onto our prepared space. There we go. And then you just repeat that performance with the rest of your dough. So there's our kichel ready for entertaining. You can use your kichel, serve it with anything, meat or milk, because it has the vegetarian base. So anything like herring, chopped liver, hummus, cream cheese, anything of the sort, and even eat it plain. Thanks for joining me, and see you again next time.
Well, that's our show for this week. Thank you so much for being with us. And if you'd like to watch any of our previous episodes, they are available for you on our website at www.spiritsister.co.za. And of course, we love hearing your suggestions and comments, so find us on Facebook at Spirit Sister Productions. As always, from me, Nikki, and the entire Simcha team, shalom and have a safe and peaceful week.